Welcome to fourth grade reading. This is lesson 154, and so we do have you have a vocab quiz Monday, and so go ahead and get out your vocab list 5, and we're going to say it once, and then I'm going to have you put it away, and I'm going to give you a definition, and you give me the word, or I'm going to give you the word, and you give me the definition. So we'll do that one time through, but first we'll say it together, and then I'll have you put that down, okay? At the very top, aristocratic, of royalty or nobility of the best quality, aristocratic. Correspondent, a person who exchanges letters with another, correspondent. Depot, a railroad or bus station, depot. Gaunt, thin and bony, gaunt. Glistening, shining with reflected light, glistening. Obligation, a duty, obligation. Resolution, a decision to do something differently, resolution. Shiftless, lazy, not having ambition, shiftless. Strive, to put forth great effort, strive. Waver, to go back and forth, to seem unsure, waver. All right, so go ahead and put that away, turn it over or something. You can put it in your book or something so that you can see if you know these, because you're going to have the quiz on Monday. Okay, so a railroad or bus station. What is the word that means a railroad or bus station? Depot, very good. All right, what about a decision to do something differently? A decision to do something differently. Resolution, good job. Of royalty or nobility of the best quality. Of royalty or nobility of the best quality. Aristocratic, great. Lazy, not having ambition. Shiftless, good job. A duty, what is a duty? Obligation, a person who exchanges letters with another. Correspondent, correspondent. To put forth great effort, to put forth great effort. Strive, thin and bony. Thin and bony is gaunt. To go back and forth to seem unsure. To go back and forth to seem unsure is waver, great. And then shining with reflected light. Shining with reflected light. Glistening, glistening. All right, I hope you did well with those, that you have learned these. And so you have the rest of the vocab list for the year. I can't believe it is coming so fast, but these are the rest of them for the year. If for some reason something happens to this list, it is on my website, but if you need another copy sent with one of the packets on a Friday, then you can just let me know so that I can include that with your packet, okay? But try to keep hold of this. Keep it, the best place to keep this one would be with your reading book so that you have it. You can even use it as your bookmark to know where you're supposed to be in the book. That'll be great. All right, so today we are reading, there's quite a bit of reading today. It's pages 244 to 259, okay? But there's a couple poems in there, and then we're finishing the story Willow in the Basket, or the Willow Basket, and then reading the story God's Treat. So I'm gonna give you some introductions, then I'll start reading and read some of the story, okay? So Willow Basket, I gave you the introduction yesterday, but I'm going to ask a question. Why was the word shiftless not a compliment to any pioneer? Well, pioneers were known for being hard workers. To be called lazy would be a criticism of their character. So it wasn't very nice. And you probably don't want to be called lazy either. So that's what they wouldn't want that. Okay, so the introduction to the poem My Daily Creed, which you'll read after the story, says Proverbs 18:24 says, a man that hath friends must show himself friendly. If you listen carefully to this poem, you will learn some ways to be a friend. Okay, so listen carefully as you read that poem. And then God's trees, the introduction. You have heard the story about Jesus leaving heaven to be born in a manger, his ministry with the disciples, and his death on the cross. Now we are going to look at Jesus' life on earth from the viewpoint of 3 trees. Okay, so it is a little different of a story, but you're going to get to read that and see what you can learn from it. And then the poem, Through His Name. When we observe God's creation, we are amazed to think that our powerful God loves us enough to save us. Psalm 8:3-4 says, "When I consider thy heavens, what is man that thou art mindful of him?" In this short poem, we are reminded again of God's great power and his love for us. Okay, so going back to page 244, I'll get you started on the reading. There's only a few pages left of this story. So, "Where's my bonnet?" cried Mrs. Woodlawn. "I'm going to call on the neighbors." Dancing with excitement, Caddy ran for her mother's tasteful gray bonnet. "Thank kind Providence it doesn't have purple pansies on it," said Mrs. Woodlawn as she went to the barn for a horse. There was nothing like another's need to rally the pioneers of that day. Dr. Nightingale joined Mr. Woodlawn in donating a good-sized strip of land at the edge of the swamp. Another man who had plenty of timber on his farm, offered enough logs to build a cabin if others would cut and haul them. Men and boys who had nothing to give but their time gladly did the cutting and hauling. One neighbor offered a pig, another a cow, and a third the use of his horse and plow to break a garden spot. On the day of the raising, men and boys on horseback arrived early from all the country around and went to work on the cabin. The women and girls came along together in the morning with covered dishes and jars of pickles and preserves. All right, so I'll let you finish that story on your own. Then you're going to be reading the Daily Creed, and then God's trees. And then when you finish that, you're going to read the poem Through His Name, all right? And if you are wanting to read this with someone, it does have a way to break this up and make it an interesting poem. So it has for girls and boys, but we could do the student and their parent if they want to read it with you. And so how that's broken up is that any of them that start with "I look" would be one group, and then when it starts I think would be the second group, and then the last 2 lines that start "Then I look in my heart," you would read those last 2 lines all together. So if you want to do that, you're welcome to, if someone is available to help you, or if Ryan and Morgan, I think you guys have been working together through most of this. So if you wanted to read this poem together, you could. Okay. So I'm sorry, I've got the wrong class. This is 4th grade. So never mind for Ryan and Morgan. I just got done with a language video for 6th grade, so my mind was on that. But I apologize. Just if you've got someone that can read that with you, it could be a sibling, it could be, or a parent. Either way would work for that. Okay. All right. And don't forget to study your vocab list for the quiz on Monday, and we will see you in the next lesson.